I'm MC Toon, and it's Tuesday night, and we've got a debate. The debate is with Chris Van Am, who is in the house tonight. Hello, Chris.
Hello, hello. What's
Hello.
going on?
Let me get, I got to get you on screen here just a second. They can't see you. They can hear you, but they can't see you yet.
How's that? Any better?
I've got to fix something quick. Right. There it is. They can see you. Well,
How's it
welcome.
going?
It's great. All right. Well, you were talking a lot of smack on Facebook.
I was see in my journey for truth, I came across your site. I seen a lot of things that I was with a critical thinking eye, I was disappointed in. Fair to say. I kept seeing a couple of these posts that are linked to your site, reoccurring on these debates, and
All right.
yeah, I decided to call you out. Is my connection okay?
Yes, it's fine. They can hear you. They can see you. Um. So, yeah, maybe you just want to get into what you the issues you had,
Okay,
and
so
then you can get into showing evidence for flat Earth.
yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I went through your whole site. There's a few things. I'm not going to go through it, and I can bring up. Hold on one sec.
So,
Yeah. I'm just sharing my screen. Hold on. Give me one sec.
all right.
All right. So here's this. There's a couple of them, and then a few other things that I've had problems with. But let's just get into this one. So
Okay.
my big thing about this in particular is scientific bias, right? I mean, this is supposed to show something. It's supposed to show Earth left to right curvature. So what are you trying to imply, that Earth's a ice cream cone? I know that the equator is a little bit wider than anywhere else, but is that what this is trying to imply? And I mean, if you have a critical looking eye, you can see right there that the stand, it's not quite flush. I mean, if you zoom in like I did, you can see that it's not square. It's not. So, I mean, part of scientific method would be to show that the stand and everything is in fact level, right? I
That
would
they're
assume so.
that they're level or that they're straight. The straight edges are meant to be straight. That's all.
Right. But you're taking a picture in comparison with the horizon, which is level.
Yes. So the
Right.
question,
So,
it's a control for the camera, to see if the camera isn't introducing any curve, because cameras tend to have some barrel distortion, especially above and below center of frame. So this was the straight edges there were to control for the curve of any barrel distortion in the camera.
so you're saying that the camera is the reason why this stand isn't level from the get-go. That's what you're saying. Because part of the big thing that I had with your site was the scientific bias, muddy water proofs. So to say you're talking about control, right,
Yep.
of the camera, but you're not using control of an actual level, does that not show bias?
Not at all. The test is
Not at all. Okay.
whether or not the camera is introducing curve. So you take two, in this case, two known straight edges above the horizon and below the horizon. We know they're straight because these pieces of metal are straight.
So what you're saying is that you don't consider the grade of the stand, but you're going to consider
the whether the stand is tilted.
Yeah, you can see it from the okay.
No, because the stand, right, you're going to need to make a case that the stand being tilted will cause the horizon to appear curved when it's not.
Burden of proof. Show me that there's a level on there while taking a picture left to right.
I don't care about level. The question isn't whether or not there's a level. The question
what is behind there? What is it measuring?
The question is whether or not the straight edges are straight and whether or not the horizon is curved or straight.
Of course, the straight edges are straight.
There we go.
Is it matched up to the horizon, which is level?
Is it matched? Yes, so, it's near.
No,
That's
all
it needs to do. It needs to be near. And so then any apparent curvature due to the lens will be shown in the straight edges. If the straight edges are then curved, then we know that you're not seeing the horizon truly. But since the straight edges are not being curved by the barrel distortion, then we know that we aren't seeing any induced curve on the horizon.
So let's just gauge this right now. Use our critical thinking eye, right? Let's just gauge this. So this would be about 2 inches past the center line of the stand. And this is not at all. This has a beveled edge. This also has a beveled edge. So you are implying, let's see here, that this, like you can clearly see it's not level right from the get-go. And to say that it's
there's no claim that the straight edges are level. The claim is that the straight edges are straight.
Well, if you're measuring sea level, which is behind it, right? Sea level, it's pretty important. Sea level, right? It's pretty important.
Nope, not at all. What's important is that the straight edges are straight. Are the straight edges straight? Well, you already said that the straight edges are straight. There's no question about it. And in the left to right compressed picture, you can see the straight edges remain straight. When you do that left to right compression, curves are magnified and straight edges are left straight. So you can see that the left to right curve is not there in the straight edges and is there in the horizon.
This would be control, right? Why wouldn't they make two straight edges of levels?
Because the question isn't whether or not the straight edges are level. The question is whether or not the straight edges are straight.
That experiment is biased. Let's move on to the next one, please.
Are you? No, you're running away from this because I know that you can't explain how you think that if it's tilted, that it would cause the horizon to appear curved when it's not. That's what you're asserting, right? Is that the tilt of the straight edge somehow makes the horizon curve? Right?
That's science.
Is that your claim?
No, I'm saying that obviously you have a confirmational bias. So I'm not going to even bother arguing.
No,
I've presented to your fans
wave that white flag. I'm fine. Let's move on to the next one.
So I presented your fans that you use clearly biased experiments. You can't justify measuring sea level without actually showing.
I wasn't measuring sea level. I was measuring.
Okay, so then what are you what are you measuring?
The curve of the horizon,
left to right.
Yes, whether or not
Earth is an ice cream cone. There we go. You've solved it. Ooh, now let's move on to the next one. So here we have another.
Tommy Gronwald. Very nice. Yes.
Here we have another one. So another stand experiment showing left to right curvature. So you're saying, do you have an east trough on your house? Do you have an east trough?
A what?
Do you have an east trough? You know, the drains?
Yes.
Do you know how the grading works on those?
Yes.
Okay. So looking at this, would you say that this is level with the sea behind it? Because you're measuring sea level.
No, again,
so what are you actually measuring here?
Straight or not straight is the question.
So you're showing us that this is a straight edge, but it actually shows nothing, right? So
the straight edge is straight, correct? Are you doubting that the straight edge is straight?
What is the straight edge measuring?
The straightness or not straightness of the horizon. That's it.
So a control would be for the horizon to be level with the stand, I would say.
I would say no. I would say the control is the straightness of the straight edge.
Well, then clearly your fans will be able to see that this is a fraudulent experiment that you're passing off as globe proof.
Okay, how make your case for that then?
Because the stand isn't level. There's no proof of curvature at all.
So do you think that the stand being unlevel will cause the horizon to appear curved when it's not?
It would definitely make.
Is that your assertion?
My assertion is that showing an uneven stand left to right would show a grade exactly like this. If you had an east trough and examined that, you would see the exact same thing.
So you're saying that a tilted straight edge will cause the horizon to appear curved. That's what you're saying? I want to be sure that you're saying that. Is that what you're saying?
Like I've said numerous times now, the stand doesn't match the horizon. It's not level with the horizon. That's improper experiment.
Okay, so you have a super high standard of evidence. So I'm certain that in order to convince you that the earth was flat, you had evidence that was this high or better. So we'll come back to your evidence that
it's
is
observation
that is this high or better. You can
see yourself right now. Okay? Any child could see that observation that the stand isn't level. It's pretty straightforward. And those are your two claims for curvature.
There is no claim that the stand is level. The claim is that the stand is straight.
Perfect. There we have it.
That's it. The stand is straight.
Edges.
And you agree that the straight edges are straight. And so the question is whether or not the horizon is curved or not. That's the question. And the straight edge compared to the straight or curved horizon is what then informs us.
With a bias like that and an uneven and crooked stand, how can you tell?
Because
honestly, are you lying to yourself?
Because a straight edge.
Look at that.
Yes, because
are you lying to yourself?
Listen, a straight edge won't curve the horizon if it's curved already, and a straight edge won't curve the horizon if it's straight already.
Okay, let's talk about science for a second.
Oh, you know science.
No, let's just talk about science, okay?
Oh, okay.
Definition: intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study. What would systematic imply? Controlled method, right? Like assuming...
Yeah, having controls like a straight edge. Yes.
Okay, so you're measuring sea level for curvature.
No, I'm measuring
and you don't incorporate level.
No. I'm not measuring
sea
level.
So you would say that is not a biased experiment.
Chris, I am not measuring level. I'm measuring if the horizon is curved or not. You are putting something else that I wasn't doing into the experiment.
No, I'm calling you out for fraudulent experiment in the guise of global
all you need to do is show how a tilted straight edge will cause a straight horizon to appear curved. That's your burden right there. Go ahead.
No, my burden is these aren't level with the horizon. Therefore your entire experiment is fallacy.
Well, you didn't. There's
a bunch of things you skipped. That off as actual proof, which is ridiculous.
In the therefore, you want to run away from this now? You want to run away from this one too? You've not made the point.
Bro, I called you out about this experiment, and all you called me out. Making experiments.
You called me out, but you
let's
didn't
talk about
actually substantiate your
Let's
claim.
talk about some science some more.
Oh, you're going to do science. I love it. I love it when flirts try to science. All right, let's hear your science.
Okay, of the structure and behavior of physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Done according to fixed plan or scientific method. Scientific method would be to control your variables, including the stand being level with the horizon.
No, not at all.
You just shook your head to it, and then you disagreed because you realized
I disagree with your control.
I called you as a shill because you are intentionally deceptive.
You are asserting that the
your entire nemesis team.
that
They're hilarious.
you're asserting that the tilt of the straight edge somehow affects whether the horizon is curved or not, but you haven't made that case. Go ahead, make that case.
Science.
Can you make the case, or are you going to run away from that?
I did. I'm content with my
Excellent.
case.
Okay.
You could say that I'm running away. I'm not running away.
Oh, certainly.
You
Okay.
can't
So now,
show that as
so
being
let's
level with the horizon, which is sea level, without actually using a level.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see your
Can
evidence
science
that
be
convinced
biased?
you
Can
that
science
is
be
at
biased?
list. Absolutely. But I'm waiting now for your turn.
Absolutely.
This is your turn to show what it was that convinced you with this super high, strict level of scientific standard of evidence that you have. What was it that convinced you that the Earth was flat? It must be at least this high.
We'll get into
Right?
that. We're still talking about science and how fraudulent science should be frowned upon. That's something probably you and I can both agree on in front of your fans.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Fraudulent science should be frowned upon, and showing something like that shows a bias. Okay, so science shouldn't be biased, but who is biased?
You're biased.
Yeah.
Because you've pre-selected your conclusion.
We both are biased. Everyone has their own bias, right? Scientists are people, and scientists have bias. Scientists collect money. They get funding. Do you think that most scientists would go against the funding that they get? They'll be out of job, right? It's survival. No?
They generally propose something and then they do it, right? Not always, and it's a very broad generalization, but they propose something and then they get funding for it. And sometimes certainly the funding is hopeful on some particular outcome, but in general, no, the funding isn't necessarily tied to any particular outcome.
You would say, right?
I just said.
So are you familiar with the history of modern medicine?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's funding that?
I don't know.
Who's directly funding it?
Andrew Wakefield really got knocked down pretty easily when he was shown to be doing some fraudulent stuff.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's how science should be. And
yes.
you'll have to excuse my demeanor with you. I just, as something I can clearly see as fallacy, I wish that there was more integrity to this kind of stuff. Like, I mean, if there was so much globe proof and curvature proof, why would you fake it?
That's not been faked. I'm glad to show plenty for you.
Okay. Perfect.
But you are the one that has the super standard of evidence. And I'm curious to find out, with your exceedingly high standard of evidence, what it was that convinced you, that passed this test for you, that you thought the Earth was flat.
Well, I could tell you it's not a ball spinning, and that's what did it. That's just a
religious mantra. That's just a religious mantra so far. I want to see the application of the super high standard of evidence that you have that convinced you that the Earth is flat. Go ahead.
Well, the natural physics of water.
Bring forth the evidence.
The natural physics of water.
Go ahead.
The fact that you cannot demonstrate gravity.
Oh, you certainly can, but that doesn't actually show, that's not evidence for flatness. So the super high standard of evidence that convinced you that the Earth was flat. I want to see it. Let's see it. The super high standard, the really, really high, that you're so critical of this. The straight edge doesn't have to just be straight; it has to be level. That kind of super high critical standard of evidence. I want to see that what it was that convinced you that the Earth was flat.
Well, you see, if Earth is 70% water, and when water finds and maintains level.
Yes.
When it's not an acting force upon it.
Yeah, level is a curved surface. Got it.
Level is a curved surface.
Webster's Dictionary, adjective number 1. Conforming to the curved part of the liquid of the Earth's surface.
Yep. And
That's the
just
definition of level. So if you
yeah.
disagree with the definition of level, that's fine. I would expect you to have the measurements meeting your super high standard of evidence.
Okay, so let's look into this. This is your formula. This is your true formula for your
It's
ball,
not
right?
my formula at all. That's the wrong formula.
That's the wrong formula?
I'd be glad to show you the correct formula.
Absolutely.
That's not the correct formula.
Can
So,
you
show how that. Go ahead. I'll get the correct formula up while you're.
So
while you're
let's
doing
see
that.
here. Let's see here. What does this say? For 30 miles, 600 feet, right? That's what
Wrong.
it says.
Wrong.
Wrong. Well, then I'm sure you'll correct me, and then we'll figure it out for 30 miles. There we go. Here's a good one. It's because technology's outpacing their lives. Right?
Good mantra. Good job parroting your
a mantra. You know what's a mantra?
You're parroting your
The heliocentric model is a mantra from the Vatican.
So you say from the Vatican.
Pope Urban
it's much older than the Vatican.
Yeah. But Pope Urban VII commissioned Copernicus the same time as King James Version.
Much older than the Vatican.
So you see that? That's 30 miles.
Yes.
And then we can go here.
And what's the vertical temperature gradient?
Well, who knows?
Oh, well, then it's a pretty crap test. That would never meet your standard of evidence.
Definitely not.
Totally not.
It would just make me think, right?
No, it should make you laugh because it's such a poor quality observation. Right. So all right. So 30 feet. How far away is that there?
It's 30 miles.
Okay.
That's 30 miles. And the observer height is what you've seen us feet on the beach, right? So it's 5 feet, 5.5, maybe 6 if he's really tall.
6.
Maybe 4 if he's really short. Probably.
Okay.
Never mind. That would have been a little low.
All right. So let's see it there. So let's
watch this video together. This is a pretty good video for curvature.
Well, no, it's not. It's a very bad thing. It doesn't meet your standard of evidence.
This one here that I'm sharing.
So it doesn't meet your standard of evidence, Chris. They didn't control for conflating variables like you demand.
Right, but this one does.
Oh, it does.
You're right.
Did they get the vertical temperature gradient this time?
I don't know. But if that's so important,
it is.
Wouldn't that be important for your stand? Maybe not. Level's not even important, right?
It was controlled.
Let's watch this video. The thing about snow is it doesn't refract like water. It reflects, right?
Wrong.
It refracts in the air. Snow is
in
not
the air?
See-through. Yes. Snow in the air
you
refracts.
Can't see through. Yeah.
The snow that's packed on the ice wouldn't refract because you can't refract into something that's
same
not
with the
translucent.
Water. Yeah, same with the water.
Okay, so this is packed ice and snow.
And the distance?
We'll find it out.
Okay.
I'm gonna listen to this.
And of course the vertical temperature gradient you're gonna
Are you listening?
Yeah. There's no sound.
Let's listen to it.
There's no sound coming through. But I'm still waiting for the vertical temperature gradient.
Okay, well, how do I get the... He talks about it, I'm sure. He goes into great detail with his control. Yeah, I wish that you would put it up. Absolutely.
It is up. Everybody can see and hear everything you're sending me.
Okay, so you can hear...
I cannot hear it. So I've been on frozen lakes. I know what temperature gradient they have on frozen lakes. Have you been on a frozen lake? Chris? Chris? I'm not hearing your answer, Chris. Have you walked on a frozen lake? Hello? Have you walked on a frozen lake? What happened to you, Chris? I, I think he hears it and he doesn't know that it's not coming through to me. He took his headphones off. I see. All right, Chris.
I'm hoping you can still hear it through my headphones. I don't know what's going on.
I never heard any of it.
Oh, that's unfortunate because he goes into great detail marking his observer height, the distance at each light.
Yeah. And did they measure the vertical temperature gradient?
There isn't probably much vertical temperature gradient being 7 3/4 off the ice. Observing something from 8 miles away.
Oh yeah. Have you ever been on a frozen lake, Chris?
Canadian, bud, of course.
Okay. So what temperature is it near the ground and what temperature is it 1 foot up from the ground? Is it the same temperature or does it get a lot colder close to the ground? The importance of very good boots.
It's pretty similar. It's about the same.
Oh no!
It's about the same difference between the moon and moonshade.
Chris, you can get 1 degree Celsius in just a few inches.
Okay, fair enough.
On a frozen lake.
Okay.
To curve light with a radius of 4,000 miles, you need 1 degree for 10 meters. A frozen lake is one of the most highly refractive environments you can have. And that's why the frozen lake experiments are so deceptive.
But that's not a frozen lake though, like ice. So it's not going to refract through.
They were not standing on a frozen lake?
They were 7 3/4 off packed snow. That's not like
snow is not ice now. Is this new?
Snow is snow.
Did you not know that snow is actually ice?
Snow is snow.
You live in Canada, you said, and you're unaware that snow is frozen water.
Yeah.
It's a strange one.
Sure. Snow is snow.
Yeah, it's
frozen. I see what you're trying to do here, but you're the one fraudulently using fallacy as an experiment. Tell me why you live on a ball.
Difference.
Tell me how you know you live on a ball, buddy.
You're deflecting now because you got trapped.
I'm not deflecting. I'm still going on. You want to talk about actual
land? We're going to talk about the vertical temperature gradient on a frozen lake. All you need is 1 degree Celsius over 10 meters to get a radius of 4,000 miles in the curve of an arc of light. If you have, hold on, I'm almost done. If you have a stronger temperature gradient where it's 1 degree and less than 10 meters, then it drastically can change the radius of the arc of the light. So doing that over a lake and not controlling for the temperature gradient is extremely deceptive.
But an uneven stand isn't. So let's say for a second, correct. Thank you. So your shill experiment is in fact fallacy. So let's say
you've not yet made the case that the levelness, the tiltiness of the straight edge has an effect on the apparent curve or not curve of the horizon.
The tiltiness of a straight edge. So the tiltiness of a straight edge. Right, you see where you just went there, right?
I love to make up words,
Mr. Toon.
Yes,
the tiltiness of a straight edge to measure the horizon.
Yes, to whether or not the horizon is curved. Correct.
So I could lead you right to every single Earth proof, and you'd be like, I don't get it. You're beyond.
Okay, so now it's important that I really point out that you had this exceedingly high standard of evidence.
Okay, so before you interrupt me then. No, you just said that a second ago. So let me keep going. Suez Canal, 120 miles. Mediterranean Sea to Gulf of Suez, lock to lock. No convexity, no measured convexity. That's geodetics.
How did they measure that?
Plane.
Can you show the measurements of that, please?
By all means, look it up. I'm here to debate you. I'm not here to show you.
You're here to make claims and not have evidence. I've heard that one before. Let me just circle that down on my bingo sheet.
Claims what, do you want me to show evidence. The shill stand again?
I want you to support
you're
your claims
about
with evidence.
Controlled experiments, whatever, buddy.
There it is. Okay. Claims without evidence, right there, top left.
Let's talk about claims without evidence.
Water finds this level. Ooh, laser test.
Pseudoscience, a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on scientific method.
Yes.
What is theoretical science? Concerned or involving the theory of a subject or area of study rather than practical application.
You don't know
theoretical.
You don't know what theory means, do you? You don't know what theory means. You should look up theory in the scientific concept, what it means actually. So when scientists use the word theory, you should understand what they mean by it instead of.
Okay, so basically the entire heliocentric model is theory.
No, and it's based on measurements. It's based on measurements.
It's based on measurements, right?
Yes, based on measurements. Yes.
Right. Like an atmosphere can be next to a vacuum without containment. Can you show me this at sea level?
No, that's not the claim. Again,
since measurements tell you that gravity is stronger at sea level, can you show me this controlled experiment at sea level? Sure.
I'll explain it to you. Number one, there is no vacuum.
Show me a pressure gradient of hydrogen, which is less dense than oxygen.
Chris, I was talking to you. But just you're interrupt. Okay. I don't claim a vacuum. I claim a pressure differential. The entirety of the universe is positive pressure.
Boyle's law. What does Boyle's law state? Pressure requires what? Containment. That's Boyle's law. Fact. Is it? Look it up.
Not atmospheric pressure.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Should I get into the other gas laws that don't require gravity?
Certainly. But let me explain, just so you understand.
So does gravity not affect gases in their pressure gradient?
Yes, and that's what causes the pressure gradient. You didn't know that, did you? Oh, that's cute.
So are you telling me that the atmosphere is homogeneous?
It's generally mixed, but not completely perfectly mixed.
It separates based on density. Dalton's law says that it slightly mixes at equilibrium, right?
It mixes too much.
Slightly. That's what Dalton's law says. Are you more informed than Dalton?
It slightly mixes because
it slightly mixes at equilibrium, but it still separates based on what?
But Chris, it's never at equilibrium. There's always wind. There's always movement.
Neutral buoyancy lab. It's never.
Yeah, inside a controlled experiment like that, certainly, yes.
Okay, so
but in the general atmosphere, no. There's
swim ballast from a fish. When you and I exhale and inhale in a lake,
all of that gets stirred up. All of that gets stirred up.
Right.
Yeah.
So all those things are a really strong argument for gravity, but because of your confirmational bias, you'll look past it and assume that I'm an idiot. And I'm fine with you assuming I'm an idiot.
Not assuming. I think it's pretty much not an assumption.
That's fine, bud. See, I am whatever you think I am, but that doesn't make me that.
Okay.
So let's say
let's go back. You were talking about pressure.
Pressure requires containment. Game over heliocentric model. That's it. What
kind of containment is allowed?
Well, flat Earth has the firmament, right? That's a pretty good container.
But you're asserting that it requires a physical container, right?
Well, I'm not actually asserting that the firmament is a physical.
No.
It could be like a super fluid mixture. I'm not too sure.
Nobody knows anything about the firmament because.
Well, I do know that thunder echoes.
I want to be sure.
Sundogs prove it. Halos prove it.
No, hold on. So try to stick on the topic here. I want to be certain.
We're debating. This is back and forth. This isn't just you going to tell me how to speak on your show. This is a debate. I want to make sure I've proven that you're a shill, and I'll continue to do it.
You've proven nothing. I want to be sure.
Earth's an ice
cone. Oh. You still haven't made your claim there, but made your point. I want to be certain that you understand that I don't claim that there is a pressure, that there's a vacuum. It's a pressure differential.
Okay, so let me ask you.
And you are asserting that there must be a physical container in order to maintain a pressure differential. Is that your claim?
That's science. That's not theoretical science.
And so the top of an airplane wing and the bottom of an airplane wing, where's the container between the top and the bottom where there's a difference in pressure?
Oh, so there's a difference in pressure, but
that's all I'm claiming. I'm just claiming there's a difference.
in the same.
What's the container?
So you're using an acting force to make up pressure difference.
Yes, that
It's still contained. The atmosphere has to be contained. It can't be up against.
I'm with you there. A force can cause a pressure differential. Got it. Right? A hurricane is a low pressure. And where's the physical container between the center of the hurricane and the outside of the hurricane?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. You cut
out. The center of a hurricane is low pressure.
Yeah.
So where is the physical container between the center of the hurricane and the outside of the hurricane? No physical container, right?
No.
What causes that pressure differential?
Heat, humidity, land mass underwater, tides. There's multiple reasons, right?
Forces at play. Yes.
Okay.
Forces can cause a pressure differential.
So let's talk about the force that's holding the atmosphere.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Is there proof that this can be done? Can you get hydrogen, which I would assume would be very top dog? Would you be able to get hydrogen in a pressurized volume next to a vacuum?
No vacuum.
And release it without it equalizing?
No vacuum.
No.
I don't claim a vacuum, so I claim a pressure differential.
So space is not what they tell me.
Space is a low pressure area.
Okay,
space is a low pressure area. You can look up and you can
that space is a low pressure.
Yes, you can look up. There is a specific
I know that NASA was lying to me for the last 30 years about space being
you can
no
look
gravity.
up it and see what NASA says for the pressure of space.
Okay.
It is not zero.
It's not zero.
Yes, intergalactic pressure.
They say that the atmosphere reaches the moon. That's what NASA tells me.
No, they say that the atmosphere reaches about 100 kilometers, and that particles from the atmosphere get outside of the Earth, and some of them are around the moon. And I do appreciate that you brought that up, because that was a probe that was orbiting around the vicinity of the moon, hundreds of thousands of miles away, in order to do that. So I'm glad that your citation contradicts flat Earth. I love that. It's Toon's Law of Flurf #1.
Oh, no, see, the thing is, you can be condescending all you want. I could care less about it.
That means you could care less? You actually care a little.
So when I messaged you, I asked you to convince me that we live on a spinning ball,
Chris,
right?
You misunderstand. You have the burden of evidence, not me.
The burden of proof lies on proving curvature and rotation.
The burden of evidence lies on the person that's making the claim that doesn't have the mountains of evidence supporting it. So that's on you.
Curvature. No proof of curvature. Show me proof of curvature now.
You keep talking proof. That's a pseudoscientific term, so you know. And you had that pseudoscience thing up a little bit ago. Claims of proof is pseudoscience. All right?
Gravity.
Yep.
Gravity.
What about
is pseudoscience?
So you say, all right, well then make your case. Go ahead.
Make my case. We're not even on curvature. Okay, so the thing about gravity is it's based on a ball, right? A ball with a diameter of 7,917 miles. That's what it's based on, right?
It's based on mass attracting mass.
Mass attracting mass?
Yeah.
That's Newton.
That's gravity.
That's Newton.
That's Einstein.
That's Newton, right?
That's Einstein and Newton, both. Yes.
So Newton is mass attracts mass, right?
And Einstein, both.
But Einstein is mass attracts mass, bends space and time, right?
Right? Einstein went a step further and explained what's happening at the next.
Keep going.
Yeah, and he went to explain what's happening beyond it. But the law of gravitational attraction is just like other laws. It doesn't offer a why as a cause. Just like the Snell's law doesn't offer a cause, or Ohm's law doesn't offer a cause. Right? Did Snell or Descartes understand why light refracts in different mediums? They did not. So the law.
Deflecting. So gravity
I'm
is
giving you
based
free education.
on the mass
Chris,
of a
I'm
ball.
giving you free education.
7,000 miles.
It's based on mass attracting mass. That's it.
It's based on mass attracting mass. But that specific formula comes from a ball that weighs this much within this diameter. No, it doesn't?
No.
So
I'll give you the formula.
I know the formula. You don't need to give me the formula.
What's the formula? Let's test
It doesn't matter. I've seen it before. We're not talking about the formula. I could care less because I'm asking you something about curvature because gravity is dependent on curvature and you can't
No, it's not.
produce evidence of curvature. So what is sticking your ball together if it's flat? The big thing here is that you are telling me you're on a spinning ball and you can't produce curvature proof.
Chris,
it's 2022. We went to the moon 53 years ago, and your best proof of curvature
you really don't
is
understand.
Eratosthenes. 2,300 years ago is sticks and shadows.
That's your best proof. Gravity is not dependent on the shape of the Earth. You think that gravity is only includes the radius of the Earth in gravity?
Okay, so let's talk about universal gravity.
Yeah.
Mass attracts mass, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Retrograde motion of the planets disprove mass attracting mass because they do a bit. No, they don't. Okay.
Kepler's laws. No, not at all.
Right.
Kepler's law, they completely in accordance with Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Absolutely. Completely in but you go ahead. You present the paper that disprove that. I'd love to see it. Go ahead. I mean, you've made that assertion. That's a high assertion. That's Nobel Prize stuff there. If you can show that retrograde motion of the planet somehow disproves gravity, go ahead. I'd love to see that.
Well,
did you write it up?
If it's mass attracting mass, it should be constant. That's Newton, right? Retrograde motion disproves Newton's theory.
Go ahead, make your case. You've made the assertion. All you've done is made the claim. You've made the claim. Now you provide the supporting evidence.
Elliptic orbits. Because gravity isn't constant, but they tell you it's constant. Elliptic orbits, retrograde motion. It's anyone with a critical thinking mind knowing that the planets all of a sudden pull the loop out of nowhere.
Present your case. Go ahead.
That obviously proves that gravity isn't constant if it exists.
Go ahead. Make your case. All you've done is made the assertion over and over again.
Okay, let's go on to next.
What is retrograde motion? Could you explain that?
Retrograde motion is when the planets come back to its orbit and then carry on. It's like a roller coaster doing a loop-de-loop.
And why does it appear to do that from the Earth?
See, the thing about it is I don't claim to know everything.
Oh,
right?
but you made the bold assertion,
and I'm not.
But Chris, you made the bold assertion that retrograde motion disproves gravity, and now I'm asking you to explain retrograde motion, and you're like, oh, I don't know. So you can't actually make that claim. Why would you make such a ridiculous claim if you didn't have any evidence behind it?
The evidence speaks for itself. They say that gravity is constant.
You've made the assertion, and then you didn't support your claim.
Okay, so they say gravity is constant. All of a sudden, planets, right, do a full loop-de-loop. Okay, let's skip that part for a sec. Let's keep going with there.
All right.
No. Let's keep going. So they say mass attracts mass, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Jupiter's mass, what's that?
I don't know it offhand.
Okay. Well, it is a lot more than Venus or Mars or Mercury.
Yes.
Has a further orbit. There goes Newton's theory. He exits the building. Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Plus retrograde motion.
Show the math.
Show the math?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Newton's theory.
Go ahead. Show the math. Show the application. Show the application of Kepler's laws of planetary motion and how you think they're wrong.
I don't need to.
Yes, you do. That was your claim. Was that somehow in there it wasn't right? So go ahead. Love to see it.
Its stars don't prove the what we stand on.
Nobel Prize right there. Let's see it.
Yeah. Stars don't prove what we stand on. If you're standing on a pool table, would you think that it's...
But Chris, you brought it up.
It's because those are both very good points against gravity, for sure. How the claim is mass attracts mass, how both Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus are all heavier, gas giant planets, way heavier than the terrestrial planets. They have further orbit. What does that tell Newton? Let's ask Kepler.
It tells us that Kepler's laws of planetary motions are pretty awesome and very accurate.
Very accurate.
Very accurate. Completely, astoundingly accurate at predicting where planets are going to be.
So were the Mayans. So were astrolabs. I mean, yeah, the Prague astronomical.
What's the astrolab?
Let's see. I'll pull up a picture of it.
The astrolab.
Astrolabe.
Labe. There you go.
There we go. You know what it is.
The Mayans and the astrolabes.
The Prague astronomical clock that's been going steady since 1410, 82 years before the Earth. First globe model was actually put out. So that's
not actually. It was more than 2,000 years ago that people knew that the Earth was a globe. So
the first actual model they had was when 1492.
The first actual model. Euclid had. I have his book right here.
So he had an actual model made, or just a ball?
Oh, do you mean like a physical model? No, he had a geometric model right here, in here. Geometric model.
He had this right here.
No, he had a geometric model, not a physical model. Yeah.
Look at this.
Yep. So you know, Euclid wrote this more than 2,000 years ago. Okay.
So let's talk about him. Let's talk about him.
Okay.
Yes, let's talk about him. Geometry proves flat Earth. Can you mix linear, elliptic, and... Well, did I get disconnected? What happened there?
You're still there.
Hold on.
Can you mix linear, elliptic, and... Connell Silverfur says, holy crap, Chris actually showed up tune. I guess I owe you $10. Can't wait to see this fool owned live on stream. Can you hear me, Chris? I don't know. PhD Tony says, for 2 Australian, what's he mean by the terms scientific bias? I think it's probably anything that he doesn't like. Are you still there? Can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm back.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So what are we talking about?
Euclid. You were talking about Euclid.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So you know all about a sextant, right?
You went from Euclid to sextant, but I'm certainly ready to talk about sextant. Go ahead.
Can you mix elliptic, linear, and hyperbolic angles? If one line is linear, do all of them have to be?
You can do coordinate transformations between different coordinate systems. So
is that how
sounds like
is?
It sounds like what you're trying to ask there. A sextant doesn't do coordinate transforms, no.
No, so it's just straight linear, right?
Yeah.
Just straight linear?
Yeah, but
so right angles, right? Based on the horizon? Just right angles?
No,
based
not
on
right
the
angles.
horizon?
Not right angles.
Not right angles?
No.
No?
Not right angles, nope. What? Get your point there.
Not right angles?
Correct.
You got me up here?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a little diagram. So your little viewers know how a sextant works.
Oh, I think they know.
Okay, perfect. That's actually terrible, but measures horizon level directly in the middle. Perfect. Got your books out. So how do you triangulate stars?
You don't.
That's not what?
There's no
this
triangulation.
Is how you triangulate stars.
That's not a good diagram.
So what did Tychos do then? What did Tychos do then? He triangulated stars.
Who?
How did he do that?
Who?
Tychos. You know?
Tycho Brahe?
Your boy Tycho.
Yeah, he did not triangulate stars.
The thing about the stars, and this has been used for thousands of years, the stars never change in relativity to one another.
Actually, they do.
Not in relativity to one another.
I'm not surprised that you're unaware of that.
Yeah, they do have precession of era, precession of equinox, and the great astrological year. But in relativity to one another, they don't.
They actually all move. Yeah, they all move.
Yeah, okay.
The nautical almanacs document their movements. You can get them for free. I have 150 years of almanacs on my website at mc2.net/Polaris.
Okay, but
why didn't you go there and look at some of them to see that they
I did.
Oh, okay.
But that doesn't go into historical context
Sure
at
it
all.
does. It goes
No,
back to
doesn't.
1600.
It goes to
I have
1830.
I have the documentation.
1830.
Oh, you better check again.
Okay. So this is how you're supposed to determine your location with the sextant.
That's a wrong drawing.
That's a wrong drawing?
That's incorrect.
Okay, so I think that you're incorrect.
Okay, well then show me how celestial navigation works.
Can you show me how a sextant works?
Absolutely.
Okay, does it measure above the horizon like you're about to show me?
It measures the angle between the horizon and the star. So I'll draw a picture for you.
Or does it assume Earth's center mass?
It assumes that the Earth is spherical. Step 1, assume the Earth is spherical. That's step 1 of how to use celestial navigation.
Step 1 of. Okay, so then you'll probably show me a diagram with somebody measuring above the horizon, right? Off into space.
Yeah,
that's what you're going to show me, because that's how sextants work, right?
I don't know why you're even asking then, because that's super easy to do. All right, here it is.
While assuming exactly where the center of Earth is, right?
That makes no assumptions about exactly where the center of the Earth is, but there it is. There's how the angle that a sextant measures right there. You see, from the observer, you got the horizon up to the star. That angle right there.
Right. So you can show me. You can show me that little curvature, right? Because you are making a pretty vast assumption right there. You were saying that your cartoon has curvature, therefore Earth has curvature. Can you show me the curvature?
Well, we're talking about celestial navigation. We've already looked at the curvature. So
this is what the book shows you about celestial navigation. You show me a cartoon and assert the claim that Earth curves because my cartoon curves. Now show me the proof of curvature, because gravity depends on it.
Gravity
it's 2022.
I don't know why you keep saying gravity depends on it.
I can't show you curvature. Why can't you show me curvature?
Stop sharing your screen.
It's a fixed distance, right?
I'll send it. Stop sharing your screen.
Send it to me.
You ready?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Still looking like James Dean.
Well, maybe if you got a different hairdo.
Maybe. You like the chops or what? I was a T-Bird this weekend. Killing it.
All right, let me get this here.
So basically, though, no amount of evidence I can produce will ever change your mind. You've just got, I can show you that your stand is uneven, and you'll be like, no, it's not.
You would need to actually show evidence.
That's your mindset, right?
Which you haven't done yet. So
the big thing about flat Earth is you got to check your ego. I can see you have a it's either you're paid.
Chris, you need to show evidence, which you haven't done yet.
Right. So I'm asking for evidence of curvature. Let's see this.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
So just a second here. So I have to change the scene here. So, not that. And since I'm sharing to you, people don't even see anything. They see a frozen picture of you with the chops going.
I hope it's a good position.
Well, I tried to get a bad position, but I failed.
Hey, I had a feeling that you only wanted me on the show for that reason, but I'm okay. I'm still here. Your fans are asking what is scientific bias, and now they're going to be second questioning your site. And that was end term my goal.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to convince me that I live on a ball, and I don't think I'm going to convince you that you live on a flat Earth. See, the big thing I noticed about flat Earth versus globe Earth, it shouldn't matter. You and me are probably, if it wasn't for this, probably both pretty stand-up people. The thing that's driving us is our beliefs, and it shouldn't be like that. We're taught from a young age not to talk about things that might trigger people. It should be the opposite. We should be able to speak openly about these things. And the biggest thing about it is objective reality. Your personal objective reality, you don't see that stand as being biased. I do. Maybe some of your fans might see that as a bias. So maybe they won't.
Yeah. So to see, I mean, how are you going to see the curve of the Earth, right? You tell me. What would it that you would expect?
Well, they say that it should be observed at 3 miles. That's what Google tells you. That's probably one of the biggest things that threw me off.
What would you want to see for the curve of the Earth? What would you want?
What would I want to see?
Yeah, what would you want to see for the curve of the Earth?
Well, I mean, it supposedly drops one whole degree.
Just answer the
over
question.
69 miles, right?
What would you want to see
what would I want
the curve
to see?
Of the Earth?
Curvature proof. The supposed curvature proof that there should be. I mean, you look at all the lighthouses around the world.
Describe to me the optimal.
Don't interrupt, please. I know it's your show. Don't interrupt. If you look at all the lighthouses around the world, they have a much further observer height than what should be possible based on the litmus curvature test, which has never, ever passed.
You have successfully watched Eric Dubé's 200 not proofs and not tested any of them. But now I'm asking you, what would you want to see? You asked to see the curvature.
Proof of curvature.
All right, and please describe what kinds of things you would accept as your words, proof of curvature. What would you accept?
If you can tell from my shirt, I don't really trust NASA.
Okay.
I've seen amateur weather balloons from 120 miles with no fisheye lens. So,
would you accept an amateur balloon with no fisheye lens?
I've seen lots of them though, and they're labeled as no fisheye lens. They're labeled as no fisheye lens, but it's clear that they're using a fisheye lens.
Okay, would you accept that if there was no fisheye lens? If I could show you the documentation of the lens?
So here's the thing though. We should be able to measure over 10 miles.
You're running.
Am I?
You don't want to answer that question, Chris. You're getting nervous. You know that I have it.
I'm nervous, buddy. Never. Your entire shill gang was saying that I wasn't going to show up. Here I am.
Come on, Chris.
Right?
What would you? Would you accept? I'm asking you. Very simple question. Would you accept a amateur hot air balloon, or not hot air balloon, helium or hydrogen balloon with no fisheye lens? Would you accept that if with
no fisheye lens?
Yeah. Would you accept that?
So that's the assumption that they're telling the truth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would accept that? Okay. All right. I'll share it. You've said it. Now you can't go back.
I didn't actually say that. I said that's the assumption that it's not a fisheye lens.
Okay.
I've seen.
Okay. Well, then before we move on, we're not gonna change the goalposts.
We'll both share a video. We'll both share a video.
Okay, Chris, I have it ready to go.
We'll share one with a fisheye lens that you're about to show.
We'll share one that I have prepared. I have one without fisheye lens. It doesn't
have a fisheye lens.
Start to finish, and I can document the lens that's on it. Okay? So I want to be certain here before we move forward, Chris.
This will not prove curvature to me.
Okay, so you're pre-rejecting
because it's coming from a questionable source like yourself.
Already, it's not actually coming from me.
But you're the one presenting it right now.
It's coming from
you have already been proven to share fallacy as proof.
So you've said.
So what is the point of this debate?
So Chris,
the point of this debate is
to show that you will unreasonably pre-reject everything. That's the point of this debate. You are unwilling to be truthful.
No, I live on a ball, bud.
You are unwilling to be truthful. I specifically asked what you would accept, and you said what you would accept, and then you still said you were going to reject what I show you.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Okay, then let's ask again. If I can document for you the lens that's used and show you that the lens does not add curvature, would you accept that lens?
Maybe for somebody a little bit more with more integrity. You don't seem like a.
Would you accept if it was from a flat earther?
Not
me. I didn't do it.
Without seeing it myself, I probably wouldn't. Now the thing is.
Okay, so you've asserted now that you are dishonestly rejecting any evidence that contradicts your pre-selected conclusion. We now know that you have a religion and that you have pre-selected everything. You automatically reject everything that contradicts you. Thank you for that. That is my goal, Chris.
Okay,
I have successfully accomplished my goal. I have shown that you will not accept any evidence. You will pre-reject everything, even if it meets your standard of evidence. You will
double think, buddy?
Reject.
What is double think?
It doesn't
I'm
matter,
asking
Chris.
you.
I have done exactly my intention. I have shown that flat earthers are dishonest.
You're interrupting and you're avoiding me bringing up a very critical point. We should be able to measure it at 10 miles. We can't. We should be able to measure it at 20 miles. We can't.
Because you got nervous.
No, you're talking over me because you know you got nothing, buddy. You're hilarious.
All right. Well, then what I'm going to do, Chris, is you have shown that you are extremely dishonest. So I'm going to ignore you for a while and let you calm down and think about the naughty things that you've done.
So you don't let me talk.
Caucasian Sensation says your levels are bigger than Earth's curve. Dumb. True. Antifarian says there's no hope for this guy. How about them hot dogs? We will be talking hot dogs in about an hour. That hot dog debate is ready. Both Mallory and Kyle have a whole bunch of stuff ready for you. I think it's going to be amazing. Kyle Silver first says, Chris, whether you're on Facebook or streaming live, your tactics are the same. The problem is here, your gish galloping is much more obvious. Very true. You can't meme so easily live, can you? Lael says hot dogs are sandwiches, therefore Earth is flat. Lael, there may be as much logic in your claim as in Chris's. PhD Tony says for $5 Australian, there are professional scientists in the chat who can adjudicate which of you is most scientific. Hint, it is not your guest. That's true, Tony. Chris, someday you might decide to be a little more honest. Jason Kolasiki says, brave Sir Robin bravely ran away. When danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned his tail and fled. Indeed, he did not want to see curvature of the horizon taken with a non-fisheye lens by a flat earther, because it would contradict his pre-selected conclusion. He is the epitome of dishonesty. Saeed Ahmed says, pathetic. Litigating the word science doesn't demonstrate a flat earth. MC Toon wins. Well, thank you for that. The globe wins, not me. Connell Silverfur says, this isn't Facebook, Chris. Your memes have no power here. And he's memeing. Oh, when your understanding of the world is meme deep, all you have is memes. It's kind of sad. Lord Illuminous Pooh says for $2, not a negative. We want a positive evidence. Well, flat earthers think, hey, look at my misunderstanding of things. Therefore flat. Connell Silverfur for $2 says snow is not ice. Chris Van Amp. 2022. I don't know. I think Canada, you might want to disown him if he's unaware that snow is frozen water. Raza43 says boom. Hey, this isn't Jose JG Gonzalez boom, but I do like Jose. He's a good guy. Raza43 says my super chats work again. Has not let me send these for months. Well, I'm glad. Thank you for that. All right, Chris, are you ready to look at curvature? And evaluate it fairly?
So listen, I'm not going to put up with your bullshit.
Oh, okay.
I'm here for a debate.
You're just
in the middle of debating a point about curvature. You interrupt me multiple times, and then you mute me. Right?
I didn't mute you. I just turned you down.
So here's the thing about curvature, right? Here's the thing about curvature. It should be measurable at 20 kilometers,
yes,
20 miles, 30. Okay, absolutely. But it's not.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
So show me with empirical proof.
Well, what is your standard of evidence so I can meet that, and then you can't move those goalposts afterwards?
What would you?
No. This is you. This is so that I can pre-select the things that you will accept, and then when you move the goalposts, it's embarrassing for you. What is your standard of evidence? What will you accept? Will you accept things that are obstructed bottom up, matching the globe math, which you're not showing here? You're showing.
Would that also include? That's the wrong math. You didn't show me the right math. I just assume that that's the right math.
That's the wrong math. Yeah. I understand you cannot do math. No flat earther can.
Okay, so can you show me it based on actual measurements from the ground?
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. It should be measurable from the ground.
You
Can
want
you show me
actual
measurements
measurements from the ground? Absolutely, I can do that. Yes.
Okay,
All right.
let's see it.
All right. It's on my website. I'm surprised you haven't looked.
So you're left to right curvature, and you're over
this is actual measurements, and I'll share this to you. This is
Okay,
done by
perfect.
professional surveyors. All right, there it is. So now everybody can see that. So this, I'm going to go down to this one here called The Transcontinental Triangulation and the American Arc of the Parallel, published in 1900, long before NASA. Right? Here's an example of the types of things that they do. This is the triangular grid that they do.
Geodetics. So water is assumed and measured level. So don't show
I'm
muddy
not
waterproof. You're showing muddy waterproof. I can see it at the top. Coast and Geodetics Survey.
There's actually
this
no
is a
water
geodetics survey. Geodetics prove.
I'm sorry.
flat plane Earth.
I was actually in the middle of this.
Okay, so I'm debunking you before doing this.
All you've done is not listen. All right. So here is the all right. So this is the network of triangles that they create, and here are the measurements of the triangles that they did. You see this? Ibapa, Pilot Peak, and Ogden Peak. You see those three there?
Yeah, because land has grades, mountains, hills, valleys.
Yes, all right, yeah.
Right,
yeah,
water
exactly.
is assumed and measured
there's
level.
no water.
I'm not sure what you're not understanding about that.
You've not presented the measurements of water being
okay,
flat.
but you're showing me cartoons from 120 years ago to try and prove curvature.
You're moving the
for
goalpost.
observable proof.
You asked for measurements.
I'm not moving goalpost. This is 2022.
You absolutely
show me an experiment like Bill Nye the Science Guy tried showing you when you were in grade 4.
Okay. So
the curvature of science.
You want to move the goalpost.
Boats go over the edge.
You specifically asked for measurements on the ground, and I'm giving you specifically exactly what you asked for, and you're moving the goalpost, Chris. Again.
Right. So Earth is not literally flat; it's a level plane.
So you've said
is measured and assumed level.
So you've
period. In geodetic survey,
but level is a curved surface in geodetic survey. So yes, water is level. Okay, so
prove curve.
That's what I'm getting to right now. I'm showing you the measurements of curvature.
With these graphs,
these are the measure. You specifically asked for measurements. These are measurements, Chris.
So these are measurements of land.
And you are are specifically
peak.
Hey, Chris.
So these are grade measurements of land.
Chris. These are not grade measures. Chris, you don't know what this is yet. You haven't let me explain it yet. All you did was interrupt me. So you don't know what's going on yet. All right, Chris. So here's what happens. They measure the angles between these triangles, the vertices of these triangles.
You're full of shit, bud. You're trying to show me a cartoon and I asked for proof of curvature. Think about that.
You specifically asked for measurements.
You're showing me clearly mountain peaks and claiming that that's proof of curvature.
You don't know what I'm showing you yet. You haven't let me get there yet.
You're not showing proof of curvature.
Are you ready to listen? Are you ready to listen? You specifically asked for measurements. I'm giving you specific measurements. You asked for measurements. Now you're moving the goalpost. I said that you're going to move the goalpost. And once again, I have succeeded in my mission to make flat earthers look dishonest. That's what you are.
Look at your shield site. Is this what you share? Is this what you share? Where's the observable proof? That's what science is.
You are a serial liar, Chris. You are a pathological liar. You said that you wanted measurements of the curvature. I'm showing you measurements of the curvature. And it's
are a bunch of rats.
Okay, off topic. When you have nothing to show.
Profiles.
When you don't have any evidence, it's clear. All right. Back to the corner with you, Chris. Lord Illuminous Pooh says, haha, he doesn't know the 3 seashells. What the heck? Oh, he ran away. 909 until he ran away. What a little sissy. Poor little Chris. Well, let me show you, people. I'll just finish it because I know he won't watch. It's over his head. He's not very bright, is he? He's rather He's rather dumb. All right, well, I'll end this. So thank you, Chris, for letting me accomplish my goal of showing that flat earthers are dishonest. That flat earthers do not actually want to learn anything. They want to run from the globe. They want to run from things that contradict their pre-selected conclusions. Anyway, here it is. We've got these 3 peaks right here. They're measuring lateral or horizontal angles, not vertical angles. So the peaks don't matter. The sum of these add up to more than 180 degrees, 62 arc minutes more than 180 degrees. The next one there, measurement number 29, adds up to 39.9 arc minutes over 180 degrees. Every one of these does, Chris. Every one of these measures more than 180 degrees. If you're on a flat plane, they must equal 180 degrees, peak of mountain or not. This doesn't change if you're on the peak of a mountain. Poor Chris. So right there, since every one of those shows that it is more than, and there's hundreds in that particular measurement, shows that it's more than 180 degrees, that means that we're on the surface of a convex structure of some sort. If it varied all over the place, then maybe it could be undulating. If it was always less than 180, maybe it could be concave. And it certainly doesn't average out to be 180 exactly. And when you, I have I got to go to my SE here just to really nail it in for you, Chris. When you take all of those measurements there and you put them together, you can actually get, with each one of those particular triangles, measured triangles, you can get the radius of the Earth from every one of them. It's just geometry. It's amazing. He wanted to talk about geometry. So here's measurement number 93. Is that page 93? Number 93? I don't know. Yeah, page 93, measurement number 1, Buffalo Mound, Onley East Base, Onley West Base, and you can see there. Now, this is on the website, Chris, that you were poking around on. You can go here and you can look up your own, do this math and confirm if it's correct or not. So there it is. The radius of the Earth, 69 kilometers. That's just one set of one triangle right there. There's another one. So when you put all these together, you get an average. I summed it down or averaged it down here. It's a little tedious. I don't type them all of them in. I'm like, well, flat earthers don't want to see one. So how many do I need to type in? Anyway, so there's that, and of course the let's see, the Dwayne Kellum, the flat earther that sent up a camera. Here's the lens that he did. Here's the analysis of the lens. And here it is, the curved horizon using the lens that he said he demanded this particular type of lens. But when he knew that I was going to be showing it, he pre-rejected it. So, Professor Bill Bell sent me a message. What's that? Need some, is Gary, are you in the chat here? Is Gary Wybenga in the chat? He is. Hey, Gary, you came on to talk to me a little bit ago. Professor Phil Bell has expressed some interest in talking to you. Phil Bell is nicer than me by a lot. So 2 weeks from tonight would be really good. How about that? So, yes. PhD Tony says the fact that spherical triangle angles add up to more than 180 degrees was established by Menelaus in his book Spherics. And that is spoken about in the phenomena here. So this book, it's bigger than Euclid's Phenomena because there's a whole bunch of intro stuff. They go over a bunch of the. This section is the like the intro where they talk about, because there's a lot of background information that the reader of a phenomena would have had like in their reading, and they would have been they would have had the presuppositions and the axioms. So they go over these so that when he says the asymptotic semicircles theorem, that we know what it is. So anyway, it talks about that particular thing, I think, in here. It references a few other things, PhD Tony. So yeah, thank you for that. So anyway, come on, Gary. You can do it, Gary. I'll just sit here and let Tony talk to you. Not Tony, Phil, Professor Phil Bill talk to you. So anyway, what do you think? Some people were guessing he wouldn't make it 20 minutes, but he made it to an hour and 9 minutes. So I don't know who had the over under on that. Connell Silver for $5 says, Chris, I personally have gone over all of this with you on Facebook before. You know what the claim is. Stop lying. Stop presenting straw men. Oh yeah, the formula, Chris, for the bottom up obstruction, which is what you need in order to test bottom up obstruction. Your formula was drop from a horizontal, a different thing. Drop from a horizontal doesn't include elevation, and you can't just subtract the elevation. You get a different number from the correct one. And it never includes refraction. And when you're close to the surface of the Earth, you must include refraction because it has a big impact on it, especially over ice. And snow is ice. Poor guy didn't know that. Connell Silver for against says, Chris, I personally discussed gravity with you before. I personally have explained to you that space isn't a vacuum. You're still lying. We know that. Gotta lie to Flurf. Chris is a Flurf, therefore he's a liar. Basic logic there. Alan Bupre says, Chris, what would change your mind about the shape of the Earth? Obviously, nothing would. Chris has a religious position about the shape of the Earth. He made that very clear. When I asked him, would you accept a non-fisheye lens from a flat earther? And he said no. It is a religion for Chris. Completely an religion. Andreas Eld for 556 says, how does the tiltiness of a straight edge cause the bendiness of the horizon? He never did make that case, did he? He thinks that he can just say that it must be included for some reason, but he didn't actually present the case for that. So, no surprise. It was it's kind of a straw man, isn't it? I suppose. All right. Layal says for $5, the universe could be a container. And in this context, the edge of the universe has less pressure per square that we witness at sea level. For sure. Or not, but it doesn't matter. The entirety of the universe is positive pressure. Now, people do say vacuum of space. And sometimes people claim that, and a little sloppy, that space is zero pressure. It depends what you're doing. If you are calculating the amount of friction due to orbiting, a satellite might get orbiting at geosynchronous orbit, you might be able to just use zero for the pressure because there's a very slight, depending on how long you want the orbit to stay, right? But even in geosynchronous orbit, there are particles, and it may slow it down over time so that it needs to be boosted. PhD Tony says, yeah, he seems to think that once you tilted a straight edge, it was no longer straight. And of course, he never showed us the standard of evidence meeting his exceedingly high standard. The evidence meeting his exceedingly high standard. He clearly has two standards of evidence. The impossibly high one for globe evidence, or he's a science denier when it comes to the globe, and a ridiculously low one when it comes to flat earth evidence. He's a pseudoscientist when it comes to accepting evidence for flat Earth. That is Toon's Law number 3. On my website, I have all 3 Toon's Law listed there. It every time it comes true. I wish it didn't. One of these times, I wish it wouldn't. Chronic Avenger says, "Why do planets retrograde?" I think in his mind, he was he was thinking that the globe model, the barycentric model, heliocentric model, whatever, is actually like the geocentric model where the Earth is a globe and the sun and planets orbit the Earth. In that case, retrograde motion makes no sense at all and certainly would contradict gravity, but that's not how things work. Retrograde happens because of the interaction between the orbit of the Earth and the orbit of another planet, completely predicted by Kepler's laws of planetary motion. VSOP 87 is a 3-dimensional model of the solar system. Go ahead and test it, see if it works. No flat earthers ever looked at it and found any errors in it. I guess no flat earthers ever looked at it would be good. Stringfellow Hawk says, "Chris, what is the highest level science class that you took?" Or let me guess, you don't need to have taken any science classes. Of course not. Chris. I don't know about Canada, but in Minnesota, science is compulsory up to 11th grade in general. And of course, it could have changed since I was in school. So most, I don't know what percentage, but I took science as a senior. It was physics. I loved it. It was my favorite class my senior year. And I've shown you this before. These are my actual note cards from that class. Some are from, these are from university, because you can see I don't have autofocus. I have it off, but you can see a little network of resistors there. That's from class. Anyway, Matt Klein, I want to see Chris explain retrograde motion. He backed away from that pretty quickly, didn't he? He had no idea. Chris Milner says for £5, Chris, using the phrase critical thinking doesn't mean you are. Same with it's obvious and it speaks for itself. None of these things are true. Classic flat earther meme thinking. The claim is the proof for them. That's it. To make the claim that retrograde motion disproves gravity is the proof for them that retrograde motion disproves gravity. That's it. To them, that's it. Kyle Silver first says, this is another tactic Chris loves to use on Facebook. He throws out a bunch of terms he doesn't understand, but can't explain how they prove his point. I love that he tried to meme. He started memeing. Yes, we're doing a science debate. Let me show you a meme. Oh my gosh. Brocat for $5 says, Flurf thinks retrograde motion is a planet popping its orbit into reverse to back up. Top left candidate for sure. Oh, that must be what he's thinking. It's so dumb. Oh, I have a video. A video coming tomorrow on the Conspiracy Tunes channel. Been working on it for way too long for how much is in it. I got into Blender. I tried to make a 3D model using Blender of Flat Earth. And I got into it. I'm like, I don't know enough about Blender. This is just going to take too long. So if anybody's interested, I've asked a couple people, but if anybody's interested, like Slicebar Kings, he's good, but he's busy. If you know how to do 3D modeling and are interested in making a 3-dimensional model of the moon and the sun and the dome, maybe for some videos, contact me, email or Facebook Messenger is best. The absolute best is Facebook Messenger or Discord, and not complicated ones. Like you'll see if you watch tomorrow, you see I had some triangles, right? And I wanted to show the 2-scale height of the sun on flat Earth using measurements of flat Earth. And didn't it's good. I think I got a pretty good solution, but a flat Earth model would be even cooler. But if you're interested, people, let me know. But be looking for that video tomorrow. I'm excited for it. The problem is when I do a video that I'm like, this won't be all that good. It's just gonna be, it's not the peak video. The peak video is coming up. This one's gonna be the between peaks video. Those videos, those are the ones that go crazy. So this Karen B one that I put out on Sunday, that one went crazy. That was like a quick, like, I didn't need to spend a lot of time on it. It went nuts. It went absolutely nuts. So I cannot predict what's going to happen. Lady Moonweb says, I'm a game designer. I'll do it for you. All right. Well, Lady Moonweb, I would certainly love that and appreciate that. Contact me if you can. Email, Facebook, or Discord. And for the next one, I'll get some stuff there. Diggywig claims that I lost this debate with adhoms. Oh, that's cute, Diggywig. Brendan Kulski for 50 Australian. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you very much. Says, did I miss the Crayon Munch? You did. He was here for 1 hour and 9 minutes. And look, my goal when I bring on a flat earther is to show that they're dishonest, that they don't want to explore the truth. They're hostile to the truth. And I succeeded. He did exactly what I planned. He moved the goalpost. He said he would accept something and then said, nope, I won't. So, anyway, so it's good. Yeah. Watch the replay, but thank you for that, Brendan. It's not, I don't want to say the Home Alone guy. Cuskelly. Thank you for that. Tim Pryor says, yep, still not drunk enough to be this dumb, but I'm going strong. It's more than being drunk. Delcos says, in robotics, we can nav using VSLAM with the camera looking upwards to know the shape of the room and where we are. Why won't that work with the globe? Well, of course it will. Yeah, and you caught that. He's like, well, why are we looking up at the stars to see the shape of the Earth? Right. That was the segue into the next thing that he denied. But of course, he brought up retrograde motion, not me. So then as soon as I'm like, well, describe retrograde motion, he's like, oh, well, let's move on. Love that. Tim Pryor. Oh, yes, the sextant, a device not made by flat earthers to specifically navigate on a globe, somehow proves the Earth flat Earth because someone said so on YouTube. We have a winner. He must not have seen any of my videos. I gotta pull out the book. And he's like, here, look, it's a diagram. And then later he accused me of cartooning. Wait a second. You're gonna bring up a cartoon, and then when I'm showing an actual measurement, not even a diagram, it's just measurements, you're accusing me of a cartoon. The hypocrisy. I love it. I love flat earthers' hypocrisy. It's delicious. Tim Pryor for $20. Dear me, Tim. So good. Oh, yes, a sextant. Well, you said that twice. I'll read it again. A device not made by flat earthers to specifically navigate the globe now somehow proves flat earth because someone on YouTube said so. Way to do your research. The last line was the variation of that one. Hey, Chris, $10,000. I have on my website. You've poked around in there. You must have seen it. All you need to do is use those sextant measurements. Right? If assuming that the Earth is spherical is wrong, as you assert, then when you assume the Earth is flat and then do all the measurements and calculations based on that, certainly it would work, right, Chris? It should. Whichever one works must be the accurate one. Which one works? Oh, all right. I see. Ooh. Takakas. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Janos says, I sent you a DM on Discord about 3D modeling in the flat earth. I see that. Thank you. Thank you for that. I will get back to you later tonight. I have another live stream after this. So it will be after that live stream. So Delco says, it's 2022. Show me some curvature. Here's thousands of pictures from space. That's all CGI. You see, I assert that the Earth is spherical. As evidence, I present you thousands of photographs on photographic slides in a museum that you can go look at personally as evidence of that. And Flat Earthers' response is the positive claim, it's fake, without supporting evidence. Standard operating procedure for FLIRF. Luke Filewalker, for €5, says, Flat Earthers be like, you showed me a cartoon that's not reality, so look at my cartoon or meme. Yes. That's it. Again, the delicious hypocrisy. Rocket Scientist for 5 Canadians says, did you hear about the mathematician who is afraid of negative numbers? He would stop at nothing to avoid them. There's not enough groans for that one. Bill McGuire says, for $3, smarmy, arrogant ignorance is the best kind. It is. It's tasty. PhD Tony, evidence for the shape of the Earth. Seismic wave travel times. Atmospheric pressure wave travel times. Accuracy of spherical distance calculations. Global navigation satellite systems. DORIS. I don't know what that is offhand. VLBI, SLR, and many, many more. Yes. It's back to, there are so many people whose careers completely rely on the Earth being spherical. They're not on YouTube. And then there's a small number of flat earthers that rely on the shape of the Earth being flat for their career. They're all on YouTube. Bob Super Noodle Doodle, Jeranism, Witsit, Dearth, right? Mark Sargent. These people, their livelihood depends on the Earth being flat, or their claim of the Earth being flat. When there's millions of people whose careers completely rely on the Earth being spherical, and if it wasn't, their jobs wouldn't work. They couldn't do their job. Also, I says, for 50 Nokias, how exactly does he honestly reconcile the fact that literally nothing he presents actually meets the standard of evidence he claims to have? It's interesting. And it's Toon's Laws of Flurf number 3. How is it that they have these dual standards of evidence, and they can sit there and not just see that, oh, it's hypocrisy? The psyche of that kind of person, I don't understand. Though, all right, to be honest, I think everybody has a propensity to fall into those types of things, to accept things a little too easily that you do like. I can say that, right? And the honesty part comes when you're shown to be wrong, right? When you're presented with something that doesn't match. It takes some honesty to accept that. So I'll give you an example. A.J. Ayers was one of the people in the Vienna Circle in the 1930s. I want to be sure I'm right on the date there. These were the people that were the logical positivists in science. They were positing that science can positively show things. You can verify things, that you can essentially prove things. And this was in Vienna, so they're speaking Austrian. And he wrote a book, and it was kind of the introduction of that particular view of science to the English-speaking world in the 30s. Later, he changed his mind. He was the leader. He made probably decent money and had plenty of notoriety on that book. And he later changed his mind because he's like, all right, well, here's what logical positivism is trying to do, right? And this, right? And then as they got into it, they're like, oh, it can't actually do these things. You can't actually prove something, right? And it goes to the black swan, the actual black swan, that you all swans are white, and all you know is that all swans you've ever seen are white. You haven't seen all swans. It's a simplistic example, right? But it extends to all parts of science. Just because this thing happened today doesn't mean it's actually going to happen tomorrow. It's probably going to happen tomorrow. We can inductively figure out that it's going to happen tomorrow, but you can't prove that it's going to happen tomorrow. You can only induce that it's going to happen tomorrow. And so logical positivism is like, well, we can't actually say these things. So he changed his mind. So there's some fantastic interviews with him on YouTube. So A.J. Ayers, Ayers, if you're interested in some of the philosophy of science. Eddie Reese for $5 says it's not about convincing Chris. It's about showing everyone else why he's wrong. Absolutely, Chris. I don't care to convince you. I'm here to show that you're a hypocrite. I want people, if you're on the fence about flat Earth, look at Chris. Look at his dual standards of evidence. That's what I'm showcasing here, people. Chris has the ridiculously high standard of evidence that for some reason he thinks that a tilted, because with the precision that you need, it's hard to do. The tilted straight edge, that he did not disagree with it being straight, somehow makes the measurement, the observation of a curved horizon invalid. He didn't actually say why. He just said it did because he demanded that it must. And then he showed that lake, the frozen lake one. I'm like, well, did they measure the vertical temperature grade? Oh, I'm sure they did. They didn't. I've seen those videos. I've only seen 2 or 3 different observations where they measured the vertical temperature gradient. Both of them, fake Dr. John D. was involved in. And in all of them, the temperature gradient is more than 1 degree per 10 meters. Every one of them, the light is bending more than the radius of the Earth. They don't understand it. They don't understand. Stuart Christmas, Lloyd Christmas's brother, for $14.95 Singaporean dollars, says, even my brother Lloyd laughs at flips. Granted, he is the smart one in the family, though. I didn't even read your comment before I mentioned Lloyd. Oh, I love that. If you don't know who Lloyd Christmas is, you better watch Dumb and Dumber again. Matt Patak says for $4.99, my brother is a PhD in physics. Now works at NASA to interpret X-ray transmissions from black holes that he wrote the code for himself. How do you compartmentalize that? You can't compartmentalize the person who wrote the code. You can't compartmentalize the engineer that designed the device. You just can't do it. So for an uneducated person who's never worked outside of janitorial or construction work, compartmentalization doesn't actually explain it. Raza43 says for $2, this flat earther is going to pre-deny anything. Nailed it. That was at 9 o'clock, 9 minutes before he rage quit because I called out his standard of evidence, his inconsistent standard. Frocat as a $1. Thank you for that. But there's no message for $1. Maybe it was a sticker. I don't know. But thank you for that. Cono Silver for $2 says, I'll pay to talk to this guy for 5 minutes. Will Connell, he's gone. I'm sorry. I don't think he would have talked to you. Yeah, he was, man, he was not interested. But yeah, sorry for that. Saeed Ahmed says, MC Soon, I didn't realize you signed up for a race. This first has been running the entire debate, and they interrupt a lot. It did get interrupted. I prefer a strong format, for sure. I definitely love, let me tell you why. If you have a strong format and you pick a topic, right? One side presents in that topic, the other side rebuts in that topic, and then you have a discussion limited to that topic. You can't get only meme deep. And it shows instantly that the flat earther doesn't have any depth to their understanding. That's why I love a structured format. That's why flat earthers don't, because they want to meme. Jeez, you guys. Lord Illuminous Pooh for $5 says, here's the evidence I'll accept. Oh, you have that? It's not good enough. Gotta light a flurf. Love it. Pronon 1990 says, good job, MC2, and expose this liar for the fake flat earth. God made the world to be a globe, not flat. Yep. I agree. And if you don't think that God exists, we could all agree that the earth is spherical. Chronic Avenger, since Chris requires to personally check the camera and lens, did he do the same for the balloons he was going to post? Or did he do the same for the camera on the frozen lake that he accepted as evidence? Or for the video across water that he accepted as evidence? Certainly not. Ableist says, eats during debate, interrupts, denies. Okay, buddy. I drink during debates. Cheers. Got some Toonshine here. Geistview. Haven't seen you for a while around here. Geistview and I are in a chat on Twitter. I see him all the time. Does he know that Earth curve is not a hill with and a ball and will roll south on a globe? Kids, we call that a straw man. Is it a straw man if he's actually dumb enough to think that's right? That's the understanding. What's that called? If they're actually so dumb that they think that's how it works? I don't know. Need a different? Is there a different word for that? I don't know. Rick Shout says, for $10, does Chris realize this personal and objective contradict each other when they're talking about observations? No. See, he thinks science proves. Right? It was funny, he had up the pseudoscience versus science thing earlier. And the irony, of course, is that he didn't. I'll pull up the one that he had. Let me do that. I recognized it. Yeah, there it is. So here it is. We've got science follows the evidence wherever it leads, and pseudoscience starts with a conclusion, then works backward to confirm. Chris, that's you. Embraces criticism. Science does, and pseudoscience is hostile to criticism. Science uses precise terminology with clear definitions. And pseudoscience uses vague jargon to confuse and evade. This is what he had up. He had this on screen. On science, claims are conservative and tentative, and pseudoscience, grandiose claims that go beyond the evidence. Science properly considers all evidence and arguments, and pseudoscience cherry picks only favorable evidence, relies on testimonies or weak evidence. Relies on testimonies. Oh. When they put the meme of Auguste Piccard up that misquoted him, he didn't actually say what they put up, where it says the upturned edges. That was not a quote from him. But they attribute it to him. They accept that testimonial, but reject the testimonies of the 600 people that have been to space. Oops. Science uses rigorous and repeatable methods, and pseudoscience uses flawed methods with unrepeatable results. Flawed method would be presuming that there is no refraction when there's a lot of refraction. Science engages with peers and community. And pseudoscience is lone mavericks working in isolation. Not quite. They post on YouTube. Science follows careful and valid logic. Chris, what was the logic that got from retrograde motion disproves gravity? How did that all link together? Or uses inconsistent and invalid logic. And then the final one here, changes with new evidence, science does. And pseudoscience is dogmatic and unyielding. So there you go. Jason Kolosiki says the compressed straight edge shots was done by a gentleman in Spain or Europe. I think I watched him many years ago. Where did he go? That was Rory. I would talk to him on occasion. We messaged back and forth, and he had been kind of signaling for a while, because I interacted with him back on the tfes.org forums in 2018. And then we met up again on YouTube stuff. And he had mentioned, he had just been like, I'm getting tired of this flat earth stuff. I think I'm going to leave. And then eventually he did. There are some people that have said that and didn't leave. Bobby Shasto on TFES, he has a great YouTube channel. He keeps saying, I think I might get tired of this eventually, but it's been years he's been saying that. So anyway, that's where Rory is. And yeah, that was in Ibiza, which my understanding is an island owned by Spain. Never been there. Don't know for sure. Frocat put in 2 more $1 super chats with no message. Were they attempts at a message, or were they super stickers? Let me see. They're probably scrolled. Oh no, wait. I have them here, I bet. Can I find them on here? Oh, they're not even stickers. They're just, well, thank you for that, Frocat. Thank you for that. Books for $9 New Zealand says, Chris, how heavy are those goalposts? Well, in his world, gravity doesn't exist, so they have no weight. Right. Frocat, show me the measurement, not those measurements. He's like, show me measurements of the ground. I start showing him measurements of the ground. He's like, show me video. What will you accept, Chris? Will you accept video of curvature? No, you won't. Will you accept measurements of curvature? No, you won't. What will you accept? Nothing that contradicts your pre-selected conclusion, obviously. PT Tony, okay, the spherical triangles in spherics. Paul Arsenault says, for 5 Canadian, as a Canadian, I assert that you are dishonest and eat yellow snow. Snow is small white ice crystals formed directly from water vapor. Webster. Very true. All right, we're getting ready. We're getting ready for the next one here. I'm gonna send out the links to them in a second here, so they can join in. They can get their video going. We're gonna have a fun debate. I have a custom intro just for this. Well, you may have seen it before. I got a few more super chats. I'm gonna go through here. Don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you guys off. The Sun Express says, did today's Flurf have an explanation for Titicaca? No, they never do. They never have explanations for Titicaca. All right. We've got Mallory and Kyle are already sitting there waiting. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. The Sun Express says, I already read that. The Rabbit says for $5. Flurf, I didn't know snow was ice. I thought snow was a frozen water substance like ice. Slips on ice. Lol, too dumb for his own good. We got back to Brandon Caskelly. Yes, the Crayon Muncher has left the building. We've got Awesomeo85 for 5 poundages. Jose knows a guy called Stingray. He's amazing with Blender. and he has some amazing globe/flat models. Well, there you go. Okay, so I've got we've got Stingray, and I've heard of Stingray, and I've got 2 other people. So this will be great. I'm gonna have to do more videos that incorporate the flat Earth model. The one coming tomorrow, the Flurfs are gonna hate, and their answer is gonna be the same thing. They're gonna hate it. They're gonna hate it. I was laughing to myself the whole time. Oh, and Chatbox Travels is back. Bend Hova for 10 in New Zealand says, I live at 46 degrees south, and the sun is rising in the southeast this time of year. How is that possible on a flat Earth? It's not, unless they have a I suppose if they had an AE map centered on the South Pole. Andy Tiger's sci-fi review for $5 says, I spotted an albino Dalmatian. It was the least I could do. Is there a joke I'm missing in there? The least I could do. I spotted. Okay, got it. All right. It was least, definitely least. Eddie Reese says, to quote Garfield, round is beautiful. And I have an orange tabby cat. We call Turtle. Maybe Turtle will make an appearance in the next one. Let's see. Richard, House Plantagenet says, for $4.99, the pseudoscientific pseudo-religion of Flurfism is somehow offensive to every aspect of man. It is. If you've seen this Chris on Facebook, he's disgusting. From It's a Rubik's, for $5 says, we could send Flurfs to the moon in a rocket and they would still try to explain why the Earth is flat. How about on the condition that while they're there, they agree that the Earth is spherical in order to get flown back? You stay here until you agree the Earth is spherical. JJ Grijalva. That's a new one. I hope I got that right. For $5 says, nuh-uh, there I disprove you. Indeed, that's about it. And final one here, we've got Pylo1408 says, good job, MC Toon. That was the most cognitively dissonant Flurf in quite a while. Yeah, I mean, he didn't go into DMOC or Jin mode for much. I kind of just set him in the corner, turned his volume down a little bit, but all right, well, people, to review from Chris. Chris has an extremely high standard of evidence, so high that he rejects straight edges that aren't perfectly level. Oh, yes, the orange tabby. There it is. I said orange tabby, and look at that. He showed them. How you doing, Turtle? Hey, dude, look right there. Look right there. There. Good Turtle. He's a handsome kitty. And noisy.
And fat.
And he's a bit, yeah. He's on a diet, but everybody feeds him anyway. Saying you're on a diet, he needs to eat anyway. All right. This extremely high standard of evidence. Then he showed 2 videos of long distance stuff using the wrong math and ignoring refraction. Not a high standard of evidence there. Then he really got cornered when I said I was going to show him video with a lens that does not add distortion from 120,000 feet. Not from me, but from a flat earther. He pre-rejected it. I love it. I love when they do that. The tasty, delicious hypocrisy. Well, people, in 5 short minutes, I will be hosting the debate, epic debate number 4. Is a sandwich? Wait, no. Is a hot dog a sandwich? The question, it's an important question. So, Mallory and Kyle will be answering that question. So if that is to your taste, please do join. If it is not to your taste, I'll just let it play the background. Whatever. I don't care. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you to Chris for allowing me to once again display the hypocrisy of flat earthers. Thank you to members, channel members, patrons, super chatters, everybody giving it a thumbs up. I love it. Thank you very much for that. Oh, and thank you to Raccoon, who is now visiting. Hello, Raccoon. She is super docile. Just loves to be held. Oh, is she wearing a tie? She's wearing a bow tie. Oh, look at that. That's Turtle's tie. All right, there you go. And you can just hold her upside down like this, and she's fine with it, mostly. There you go. We have the off-camera hand. There you go. All right, thank you. All right, people. Make sure to go to boop the like button. And Gary Wybenga, all right, perhaps. So Professor Phil Bell I've been contacted by quite a few people that are interested in debating flat earthers and having me host it. So if you are a flat earther and would like somebody other than me to debate, I will be happy to host Professor Phil Bell, Bryant Myers, who was debated Austin Whitsitt, and there's two other people that are interested. One is an unnamed European professor of some sort, scientist, right? Who has intentionally not watched debates, wants to come to it uninitiated, and another one. So I got 4 people like, hey, bring me a debate. So Flurfs, bring it on. Anyway, people, thank you very much, and we'll see you in a couple minutes.